I looked this up. Twitter admits bias in algorithm for Twitter admits bias in algorithm for right-wing politicians and news outlets. And it's a year old. Twitter has admitted it amplifies more tweets from right-wing politicians and news outlets than content from the left-wing sources. A year ago.
Interesting.
So, if I'm arguing with the broad conservative stance, which I usually am, that you have to personify, this is what I talk about when I'm saying, like, hey, Twitter wasn't some left-wing thing. It wasn't making biased decisions in the Hunter Biden case because everybody works there as a Democrat. They have factually, because of this study, admitted that Twitter did the study, suggested that they are promoting right-wing politicians.
You're saying because their algorithm accidentally promoted right-wing politicians, that their moderation was not substantially biased, and also there were not inroads from political parties, primarily Democrats, that were able to get specific things taken down by asking for it without any justification. Because those two things do not match up.
I'm suggesting that the data says that they amplify right-wing ideas, and always have. And that the second part of your sentence there, where the Democrats got Hunter Biden stuff removed for no reason, there was a reason. It was horseshit, and it was not real, and it was not true. And technically, according to Twitter's own rules, it was revenge porn. You know the stupid photos of Hunter Biden and his dick? Those were released by the woman who took them in an attempt to hurt him. That, under the correct definition, that falls under revenge porn. Revenge porn is not allowed on Twitter. So they have one rule to
Well, there wasn't any revenge porn on Twitter. There was an article, if I am not mistaken, from, who was it, the National Enquirer?
No, it was somebody else. I don't think it was them. It was somebody who then did drop. I might have been the New York. I don't remember. I don't remember who posted it, but they took it down too.
Let me go pull something up real quick.
Mm-hmm.
I have to remember what my damn Twitter account name is.
I don't have one. I don't want one, but for the love of God, it's better for getting news than these fucking websites. Anyway, my point is that there's no left-wing conspiracy. There's no basis for the idea that the left controls Twitter, and everything they get to do is, and all they're doing is suppressing the right. It's just not borne out by the facts. And I'm just trying to fill dead air right now.
It's interesting. I wouldn't say that there is a conspiracy. That's a little bit silly.
Well, that's what it's what Rudy Giuliani claims. It's what everybody who screams bloody murder about the Hunter Biden laptop claims. The left owns Twitter and they got it shut down. A real story happened, and the Joe Biden called Twitter and told them to take it down. That's what they say. That's what they keep telling me online.
All right. Well, here you go. Here's
It was the New York Post.
Okay, yeah, the New York Post. So we have so to counter your article of Twitter's mission of amplifying right-wing voices.
Mm-hmm.
We have Elon Musk dropping some more Twitter files.
Uh-huh. I don't trust him. He's fucking dumb fuck. But go on. Sorry.
Let's see. So, teams of Twitter employees built blacklists, prevented disfavored tweets from trending, and actively limited the visibility of entire accounts or even trending topics without informing users.
Mm-hmm.
So, one guy that said that COVID lockdowns would harm children, Twitter placed him on a trends blacklist
Good.
to prevent his tweets from trending.
Good.
He was he's a PhD at Stanford School of Medicine.
Good. Then he's dipshit.
Let's see. There's Dan Bongino, right-wing talk show host, hit with a search blacklist.
Probably because he was saying harmful, untrue things.
Charlie Kirk set to do not amplify.
Mm-hmm.
They denied that it does these things. We do not shadow ban, and we certainly don't shadow ban based on political viewpoints or ideology. That was a fucking lie.
No, that's true. COVID doesn't harm people isn't a political ideology. It's a harmful lie.
It wasn't COVID doesn't harm people. It was COVID lockdowns will harm children, and it did.
Harmful lie.
Wait.
Yes.
COVID lockdowns harming children is not a lie.
How did it harm
The
children?
lockdown, there are many children that now actively have speech impediments and social issues because of the lockdowns.
Well, then say that and not harms children. When you say
That literally
it
is
harms
harm to children.
then explain specifically the harm that it caused. Don't say it broadly harms children. If it broadly harms children, but they would be more harmed if they caught COVID and died, COVID is harmful. So is a speech impediment, but one of them is more important than the other. One of them is more harmful than the other. A stubbed toe is harmful. Dying from COVID is harmful.
So this doctor, like, without going into what his assertions were, because I'd have to scroll down and figure out what the hell he was saying.
Mm-hmm.
Like, obviously, I'm not reading exactly what it is that he said. He argued that COVID lockdowns were bad for children, so they blacklisted him. Like,
Yes. That's a very broad statement. If he had suggested instead that COVID lockdowns are causing speech impediments and depression, they probably wouldn't have banned him. But in the long run, maybe those things are preferable to catching and spreading COVID. But as Twitter is an information amplifying device, they have to make decisions on what information or misinformation they're amplifying. It is not an easy thing to do, and I don't want to do it. I don't think anybody can do it perfectly. Should this guy have been notified? Yes. Should they have said, hey, should they have given him the TOS and done that? Yes. But that would require them to hire people and have content moderation people who can make decisions. But they are a modern day company and trying to run on skeleton crew all day, every day, and trying to let a bot take care of that. And I think he probably got slapped down by a bot, and then a person who's overworked and has 100 million, not 100 million, but thousands of flat earthers to ban today, just looked over that guy's thing and then said, yeah, ban it, great, and then moved on with his life. He has 7 seconds to make a decision. This is all an assumption by me. Yes, you're right.
Yes.
So you're suggesting Twitter shouldn't have banned this guy for saying that?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm suggesting.
And if his words are taken to heart by people and then more harm happens, that's just par for the course? That's just what happens?
Sure.
If his words cause Twitter to lose money or lose advertisers, do they have the right to ban him?
Why would pointing out that lockdowns could harm children cause Twitter to lose advertisers?
Because those 1,000 flat earthers then retweet it, and then they go to a rally.
Well, I don't know if it'd be the 1,000 flat earthers.
Well, the flat earthers don't believe COVID even exists.
And there are plenty of people that think the lockdowns were harmful.
Great.
I think the lockdowns were quite harmful.
Then they go.
I'm not a flat earther, though.
I know you're not a flat earther, but
I don't appreciate being characterized that way.
I didn't say you were. I said I said very dumb people would take that and act on it.
Act on it by what? Not respecting the
Going,
lockdowns.
not respecting
They
the
already didn't
lockdowns,
do
going
that.
to
Anybody who didn't respect the law, who would have retweeted that was like that, already didn't respect the lockdowns and already was going to go out anyway.
and if there was somebody on the fence that saw that, it might have pushed them over the fence, right? Be like, hey, I don't know, I don't like these lockdowns, but I'm not sure if it's a good idea. And then this doctor says that they're harmful for children, and they, oh, okay, wait, great, now you've uh, reinforced my biases, and now I'm gonna disrespect the lockdowns, go out. I mean, and then they spread COVID. That's just okay. It's acceptable.
Yeah, mostly. Yeah.
Okay, great. Somebody on
Yeah.
Twitter says something false, and then a bunch of people do harmful things because of the false information that Twitter gave them. I mean,
Well, it wasn't false. The
but it,
lockdowns were harmful.
Twitter thought it was false at the time, or harmful, a harmful lie. They thought it was harmful. We don't know why, because they didn't do the shadow ban. I'm okay with shadow banning people and then telling them why you did it, and allowing them to engage with a moderator to explain themselves and then possibly get the thing back. But I'm not against them banning things like that where it could be a harmful thing to say. If Because Twitter is a company, it is not a government. It is not protect your rights for free speech.
Right.
Um, and if they think that their company will lose money because they allow false information, then they will create a TOS to prevent false information.
Create a TOS to prevent false information. Well, I really can't say. Well, hold on. Can you repeat yourself there?
Sure. Twitter is a private company.
Okay.
They will, they are in the, they are trying to make money, yes? And they're trying to make money by the selling of the ads, and the people who look at it for information see those ads, and then the companies give Twitter money. They're an advertising platform. They're a TV channel.
Okay.
And we go to watch Homer Simpson do funny things, and then every 3 minutes we see a car ad. And that car ad paid for Homer Simpson to do the funny things. You know, they are a company. And if
Okay.
instead of a car ad, it was an anti-lockdown ad, or actually, no, not even the ads. I'm sorry. If the TV show or the Twitter content is anti-lockdown and they think it could be damaging to the public, they will take it down because they're afraid that the advertisers won't advertise.
Well, in that case, the advertisers have contracts with them, right?
Mm-hmm.
In which case, there would be legal recourse. I don't think that the. Also, there's a difference in putting something on TV, which you deliberately created, and providing a platform for people to discuss things on. Obviously, you're going to want to get rid of things like hate speech. You're going to want to get rid of active calls for violence, anything that breaks the law. But having a discussion about the harmful impact of COVID lockdowns, I don't think is going to lose you advertisers, number one. And number two, I mean, providing that platform, having that discussion is necessarily a good thing because it drives engagement. So for the platform to actively make the decision to start shadow banning people that don't say that COVID doesn't exist or say that COVID is not bad, to say that people believe that the lockdowns themselves are potentially more harmful in the long run than actual COVID is a perfectly valid discussion to have, I think. And I don't think that it actually helps Twitter in terms of its financial condition to be banning those people or to be suppressing the discussion on the topic of lockdowns.
There is room for that discussion, sure. But
So
the fact that
why are we shadow banning people that started?
because they have to have a moderation TOS, and I
Well,
suspect,
obviously,
and this
but
is just my guess, is that there were hundreds of thousands, maybe there were millions of tweets about how COVID isn't real and is invented by the government and the Fauci ouchie. Don't let them liberals give you the fake shot. It was invented. It's filled with Luciferian. It's poison. Those things existed, and they created a very large ban hammer that said anybody who's saying that COVID is, and he fell under that very large ban hammer. He was at the edge of it. I agree. He wasn't dead center in the uh, uh, Luciferian and Bill Gates putting microchips inside each fucking vaccine. He wasn't in that area. I agree. But he was adjacent to them, and the very large ban hammer caught him. Is he? Uh, I want him to be able to adjudicate that with a uh, moderator or something along those lines. And then when he gets banned like that, they send him a message, say, "Hey, your thing got banned, and here's why. It was caught under this very large ban hammer of anti-COVID news, and he should be able to reach out to a moderator." And I suspect that they just don't have the moderators. That's just my guess. They create an algorithm. This whole process is supposed to be as easy as possible. They want as few workers as possible, right? Cuts down on costs. If they have a software that can detect these things and create a large ban hammer and ban them and get rid of them, then they will. But you need a human. You need a human touch, and they're not giving him that. Does this hurt that doctor's rights? No, it doesn't. His First Amendment rights have not been infringed by this situation. Twitter is not the government. Twitter is a company. Um, I don't mind that moderation because I don't think it's harming his rights, and it could. What I would suggest is that Twitter uh, have a human touch when somebody says, "Hey, I've been shadow banned for something," and I don't think I should be. They should have a human mitigate that.
Hmm.
And I'm fine with the idea that that giant ban hammer exists.
Okay. So the what you're saying is that an algorithm said this guy's saying bad things about COVID and or COVID lockdowns and
Mm-hmm.
or vaccines or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, and some moderator it got shoved across the screen of some moderator who just clicked who was just spamming the ban button,
I would
basically.
assume so. Yeah.
Okay, I see what you're saying. That's not what it seems like from the way that it's worded by the person that released this information,
Okay.
who
What do
says
they
that
say?
teams of Twitter employees built blacklists, prevented disfavored tweets from trending, and actively limited the visibility of entire accounts or trending topics. So maybe you could say the teams are just those moderators that are spamming the ban button.
I mean, of course they have a blacklist. Why? I mean, they would have a blacklist. That doesn't surprise me.
Wouldn't adding somebody to this blacklist be something that would be a little bit more intensive or more
It's the shadow ban that we've all.
involved than?
It's the shadow ban that we all suspected existed. That people have been saying, "Oh, I've been shadow banned." They've been saying it for years. I've been shadow banned. I've been shadow banned. Yeah, well, yeah. That doesn't surprise me. That was already public knowledge. So this is right here, and in line with Elon Musk's new freedom of speech, not freedom of reach policy. This latest little Twitter files part two thing is literally nothing. We already knew that it existed, and they told us that they're going to do it. And Elon agrees with it. It's just not a thing. It claimed to reveal a secret operation in which the platform limited reach of certain accounts and posts. but Twitter's practices of hiding some tweets hasn't been secret at all. And what she outlines sounds similar to a December 2nd policy announced by Twitter's owner Elon Musk anyway.
Musk wrote on Twitter that the platform is working on an update to show your true account status so that you can know clearly if you've been shadow banned, the reason why, and how to appeal. That sounds
Yes,
a lot
great.
better.
I agree with that statement that he's made. He's a dumb fuck most of the time, but that's a fine plan. He didn't say he's going to get rid of shadow banning. He didn't say he's going to open it wide open to everybody who wants to post whatever they want. He said,
Not
"Hey, he's
somewhat.
agreeing with. I'm agreeing with him, and he's agreeing with me. I didn't even know it. That there's a way to moderate it. You need a human touch. You won't get that human touch if you fire half the fucking employees, or they all leave.
Great. Well,
But
I'm glad Twitter's moving in this direction as well.
I agree. This is a good
The whole reason I brought this up was because it's more to the counter of what you brought up at the beginning of Twitter saying that they amplify right-wing voices.
Well, this doesn't have anything to do with left or right wing. A year ago, we have factual studied numbers that says they do amplify the right over the left.
Right, I'm saying their algorithm did that on accident, and then their moderation team does things like have a political bias in terms of their banning and blacklisting on purpose.
Right, because they have to. The moderation team will, if the moderation team wants bad ideas to be banned and falsities to be banned, they're going to ban the right. I'm being as blatantly obvious as I can with you right now. I think the right lies more than the left, and they live in unreality. I've said this before. I think the things that they are worried about, the things that they are upset about, don't exist. They're just not real. So if you want Twitter to be reality, you're going to have to ban the right wing.
I disagree, but
I know.
I think that's a much broader topic than we might have to go week by week on some of those issues.
It is a thing that I see broadly. It is the broad thing that I notice is, again, I mean, we were talking about CRT earlier. They're worried that CRT is being taught to elementary schools, and it's just not happening. Kitty litter boxes in bathrooms are not a real thing, but they're very upset about it. Twitter shadow bans have always existed, and it's going to keep existing. Because I think, and this is my opinion here, that the right wing is not real. They're unreality. They are upset about things that aren't there, and they are manufacturing things that aren't real. And
that's just like your opinion, man.
That's just like my opinion, man. But and those are the reasons I've come to that opinion are because of CRT, the kitty litter boxes, the Ground Zero Mosque, the caravans, the Ebola that Obama was going to kill us all with. Obama was going to take all our guns. How many guns did Obama steal? None. The things that they're worried about, that they tell me are important, simply just aren't there. They're not real. They don't exist. Red Starbucks cups. Saying Merry Christmas, saying Happy Holidays instead of Merry Christmas. The War on Christmas. Does the War on Christmas exist, Modular? Does the War on Christmas exist?
Oh.
Okay.
I don't care.
I don't think it does, but they tell me that it does, and they're gonna pass policies based on a thing that isn't real.
What policies were passed based on the war on Christmas? Or the perceived war on Christmas?
None yet, because it's not real.
Okay.
I don't want, but the idea is
well, you
that
just told me that policies were being passed based on things that are not real.
They want to pass policies and stuff like that. So okay, what I'm worried about is a right-wing person using this culture war, this not real war on Christmas, getting elected, and then passing a bunch of right-wing legislation. That either I mean, we just talked about
unrelated to the war on Christmas,
or has Part F. Remember, we were reading the Stop Woke Act. He's going to put this whole stuff, and then on part F, it'll be like, yeah, and you're also, it's illegal to say certain things, or it's illegal to pass certain things, or you can't teach critical race theory in schools. Uh, it's not being done. Let's not pass laws preventing things that aren't being done, or create Orwellian 1984 rules about the Stop Woke Act. The Stop Woke Act is bad, and the things that it suggests are not good. And he's getting to that point by telling people that their children are being indoctrinated into wokeism. So that's the situation that I'm referring to. That DeSantis says, "Hey, your children's brains are being affected by wokeism. Pass this law." And we read the law, and there's the things that it's worried about aren't happening. And in the end, they won't learn actual history. They'll learn a fake history. Or they won't learn about certain historical things until they grow up and start watching YouTube videos. And I mean, I'm being very slippery slope here. I agree. I hear you. Even though, that's what I'm worried about. Or maybe changing gears slightly, Carrie Lake loses an election and then she sues.
It'll probably go the same way that the Trump lawsuits did in
Yes, it
2020.
will.
So who cares?
I mean, what do you mean? Who cares? What happens when they win? What happens when a Trump-appointed judge says, "Yeah, you know what? We should throw out the certified results."
Then it goes to an appeal where it gets
That
thrown out again.
unless that Trump-appointed judge says, "Nah, it's fine," and then the person who didn't win. I mean, this is. I know this hasn't happened yet, and it might seem hypocritical of me, but there's an actual lawsuit happening here.
Okay.
And she would like these votes to be thrown out.
Sure.
And
So what? She's not going to get her wish.
So
She's
what?
if even if one judge grants it, then the next one won't. And if that one does, the next one after that won't. And when it gets to the Supreme Court, which if enough judges say yes, the Supreme Court's going to say no.
And then we get January 6th, where people who have been told that Trump won storm the Capitol. That's a thing
seeing
that
as I
happens.
hadn't even heard about this person,
I know.
I very much doubt that.
I know she's
that
much.
there's going to be the same visibility on this one.
She's much smaller, and her Jan 6 crowd would only be like 5 people that assault the Arizona Senate building. But it is a trend that I don't like, and I think is going to happen more and more and more often. I think every Republican is going to do this more often, and then it will lead to more January 6th.
I don't think so. I think that this person is kind of dumb. It's just a bad look. Makes you look like a sore loser, and I think it's ultimately bad. I would rather she wouldn't do that. Speaking as a conservative,
Okay.
My preference would be that she doesn't do this lawsuit because it just makes her look like a sore loser.
Okay.
It's pretty cringe, and I imagine it'll hurt her. It'll hurt her chances in the future, running for office.
I hope
And
you're
possibly hurt Republican chances in the future as well.
right. I hope you're right. What is... Yeah. So... and I mean, Jan 6 happened, and I would like that not to happen anymore.
Okay.
And I think it happened because Donald Trump lied and sued, and Twitter posted all of the lies about the election, and then they had millions of tweets and millions of little stories about how it was a rigged election, and a lot of those got shadow banned. Do you think that that's okay for Twitter to shadow ban? Is it okay for Twitter to shadow ban somebody for saying that Donald Trump won the 2020 election?
Hold on. Say that again?
Do you think it's okay for Twitter to shadow ban someone who says Donald Trump won the 2020 election?
Maybe. Sure. Why not?
Okay. So that so and I what I want their shadow ban process policy to be is in line with what Elon mentioned the other day, that uh, you'll be notified and explained to, and you can appeal it with a moderation type person who then says, yeah, no, that this is unreal and we're going to keep it banned. I mean, that seems like an acceptable state of affairs to me.
Sure.
Republicans have a post-election epiphany on mail-in voting. I think, oh boy, Charlie Kirk was sitting around on his podcast, and people were telling him they didn't vote because they heard it was rigged. And so they're like, hey, well, maybe we should do this mail-in voting thing. Seems to work. Educate Republican communities have been working to educate voters on laws regarding early voting and are planning to ramp up those efforts. So I hope they do educate voters on laws regarding early voting and plan to ramp up those efforts. It's fine. More voting is good, right?
Yep.
And the Republicans are noticing at the moment that there's a reluctance some Republicans in many states have about voting early and voting by mail.
Mm-hmm.
Because Republican politicians and uh, news reporters and people on the internet have told them early voting and voting by mail are scams.
Yeah. Yeah. So the Republicans hurt themselves in their confusion. Why would you be mad about that?
I'm not mad about it. I'm just saying here's what's going on. Here's what they're talking about.